Rich did say something to me that maybe we just talk about things that people think but don't say.
I hope so.
But like
chin hairs?
Sometimes people don't talk about chin hairs, but if you talk to me, I'm going to talk about my chin hairs, but people don't. But I think
so. You're like, okay, great. Your interest rate on your new loan will be 5.99, and this chin hair.
I'm just going to water it.
This is your settlement gift. Pluck. Oh, that's special. A homegrown settlement gift.
Dollars on our mind. Ideas all the time. We might get distracted, but we're building wealth just fine. This is dollars and distractions. If we went off track, just know we're coming back. More money, more mindset, no holding back. Dollars and distractions.
Hey, I'm Maryanne.
And I'm Bec.
And this is Dollars and Distractions.
Yeah.
So this is also the second time we've done the intro because, full disclosure, the first time we had absolutely no idea what the topic was going to be.
You could have just listened to us ramble all day, but...
Oh, I think that's what they're doing anyway. Sorry, Dad. Sorry, Rich.
Talk for yourself.
Do you know what? We keep saying, sorry, Dad, sorry, Rich. So the inside joke behind that is that Richard, your partner, and my dad are the only two that listen to our podcast, but the stats are saying something otherwise.
Yeah. Are they?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, for a new podcast that we don't advertise. In fact, all we do is, what did you say yesterday on the podcast? Hit and run? Post and run?
Post and run.
We post and run.
Post
and run, my friend. And yet we're getting, was it 49 downloads or 36 downloads?
That's pretty cool.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I don't remember the exact. So let's say 39. No, 36. Let's say 36 because my brain, I don't remember. But
then I don't know if
and that's just podcasts. On YouTube it was different, remember?
YouTube was different. Yeah. But I don't know if like my reel the other day when I put a
about the chin hairs.
Bit of a snippet of our this week's podcast.
Yeah.
Rich did say something to me that maybe we just talk about things that people think but don't say.
I hope so.
But
chin hairs?
Sometimes people don't talk about chin hairs. But if you talk to me, I'm going to talk about my chin hairs, but people don't. But I think
so. You're like, okay, great. Your interest rate on your new loan will be 5.99, and this chin hair.
I'm just going to water it.
This is your settlement gift. Pluck. Oh, that's special. A homegrown settlement gift.
Woohoo. Yeah.
Do you know what? Don't do my loan if that's going to be my settlement gift. Well, that reminds me. We haven't done settlement gifts for last month.
No, let's
And I
do
know
that.
that because I intentionally said to Rima, Bec will
I've
send
got
you
to
the list.
Oh, sorry, I will do that today.
Yeah, Bec will send you the list and Bec will probably leave her name off the list. So if she does, please make sure you add her to the list.
To do that.
Yeah, I knew you would.
I don't need anything.
I don't care. I don't care.
Okay.
You got your loan. And
it.
it's a congratulations.
And it's a lot. I'm living in that thing. I'll be working till I'm 90.
Something alcoholic in your settlement gift so you can drink through the pain. Anyway, let's announce what the topic is.
Okay.
Because I've forgotten.
Separation.
So separation is such a massive, and we talked about it on the last episode. It's really common.
Yes.
And
it's becoming more common.
It's massive.
Especially in finance, I think too.
And sadly, I'm still seeing that it's a lot of women that don't have the financial, education? Independence. I don't know what the right word is I'm looking for, but they'll often come to me and say, okay, so this is what's happening. But what do I do? Like, what's the next step? I don't know the process. I mean, there's not a course you take for when you get separated so you know what to do.
No, not at all. And I think though, having been through it, I think in your mind, when you get married, that's a lifetime thing. It wasn't a thing that I thought could ever. I don't think anybody.
Or just see how it goes in 10 years and
you don't get
jump
married
from
to
there.
get divorced. So I don't think you live in a space where you go, I need to be looking at out for my own independence as well as like running a household with a partner either, you know, because.
So it can get very tempting to go, well, they're taking care of it. Everything's fine. I don't need to be squirreling money away or anything like that just in case.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the natural, and I don't mean this in a way that because I think generationally, and I think generations are changing because of more separations. I think from what I'm seeing, women or young women now are actually not being dependent on men as much, maybe from seeing generational, not to say that domestic violence is massive, but I mean, even watching the news last night, 4 women died in the last 40 days from partners. Like, I know that's digressing, but when
is that going to stop?
I don't think it will, though. I think generationally, I think trauma and things, we're living that. We are the generation that have lived, this is deep, but I think where our generation, our parents were the ones to me that were first, they've had trauma, like the yelling and we were saying, like when we were kids, it wasn't odd for a man to be in the street going, such and such, get your ass in here and, and they had a beer in their hand and everyone, here, give your kid a beer and have a taste.
I think I still do that just without the beer. Zoe, Chad, get inside.
Yeah. And I'm not saying that's the trauma part, but I think that now what's socially acceptable to then, again, digressing, but I think the next generation of women and men are looking at things very differently, where I think our generation, we were kind of like, well, I know I was like, I wanted to be married and I wanted to have kids and buy a house, and that was the normal thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that the next generation see it like that. But then I think separations maybe in our age bracket come from, that pressure of that is the normal or what we think is the normal.
Yeah, we were raised as that's normal.
That's normal. Yeah. And you stick together through whatever, and that, well, just some people that's normal too. But financially, I think we are, as women sometimes, or thought that we are the child bearers, and I'm not saying everybody is like that, but that generational thing, I think we follow on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again, it's just my own personal view because I thought that was what you did.
Well, do you know, interestingly enough, the highest number of homeless people is older ladies.
100%.
And it could be for that reason, like you said, they have the childbearing years and then the staying home with the kids, so their superannuation isn't growing, their career isn't necessarily growing, their income's not growing, and then all of a sudden separation hits.
And I think statistically, like, not to say every man is like that, but I think men then get to a point where they don't want to be, and I'm not saying that's every man, but and they do get grumpier, some of them, like.
I'm getting grumpier.
So am I. Less patience.
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that they get to a point where, males and females, I think, if you get to a certain point and that's it.
Where you just go, if this is my life, I don't want to borrow it and I want to go and
in your 60s, who can start again?
Also,
as a female?
That's something that I see, whether the client is male or female, when they do go to that starting again point, by the time you halve everything, pay back debt, let's say it's 50-50 split.
Yep.
The balance sheet of those clients as a couple can be super strong, really healthy, look great. They go through a divorce and their balance sheet is trashed. And I'm not saying you should stay together with someone who's not right for you because your balance sheet will be stronger, but that's the reality of I can't tell you how many times I've put commentary in my broker notes to say the balance sheet doesn't look great because the client has just been through a divorce settlement. And especially if it's not amicable and it gets drawn out, a lot of money can go to solicitor bills.
Well, that story I told you the other day where, my old accountant, I had the...
Oh, we're sharing that now.
I'll do pieces of it. The husband came out to fix one of our cars.
Oh, I thought you were going to say came out.
Oh, no.
I was going to say, you didn't tell me that.
He came out to fix one of our cars and I assumed that they were still together, and then he corrected me and said, no, we separated. She cheated on me with another married man, blah, blah, blah. And I remember talking to her when I was getting my tax done, and they had a little house and it was nearly paid off. They were doing renovations. And he said it was just life-changing. They had next to no mortgage. Mm-hmm. And then he said I had to then go back into debt to pay her out, which I think was by then property prices were bigger. He's now back into like $400,000 debt where he thought in his mind
he saw the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, we've got kids and we're in a great space.
Do you remember when we worked for the bank and they talked us through life stages, so life stages of clients? Imagine getting to the point in your life stage where you've accumulated your wealth and now you're selling off your wealth so that you can start to retire.
But isn't that even interesting that back in the bank we were trained for life stages but not for the shit happening?
Correct. No, it was not for bumps in the road.
Nah. And I suppose that's how we live without bumps. And not to say, because you can go to extreme like me and go back into fight or flight, but you can't live like that either. But I think you can just try and be as financially aware as you possibly can. And even I think we've done a podcast on this as well, but BFAs, the new term for prenup.
Yeah, I still want to get a solicitor in here to talk us through BFAs. Yeah. I have reached out. I haven't heard back yet. So
they're not a negative.
They're not a negative.
Yeah.
They're not. And I know when I first met Jeremy, he had come out of a divorce. So he had some lump sum cash from sale of the property they had together. And I had a house.
Yeah.
Admittedly, it was a house at Darra, right near the Wacol prison. But it was my little home. I remember my cousin came up from Melbourne I was so proud. I was like, ta-da, it's my house. And he goes, oh, kind of looks like a caravan. And then I looked at it and I was like, it does kind of look like a caravan.
But mind you, the houses in like those, like mine was in Mount Warren Park. They're older areas.
Jeremy's first house was at Mount Warren Park, I think.
Was it?
I think so. What if you were neighbours with him and his ex-wife?
Can you imagine? Oh, yeah, maybe.
What if you've met her and you're friends? You have to choose me over her.
Now all our kids go to the same school in the same grade. So I just won't be friend anyone.
Did you tell Jai he's not allowed to date her little girl?
I don't know the name.
Oh, I will.
And can you imagine if I went to an event and you know how I am, I talk shit with people?
Yeah.
Like, oh, I've got a new friend.
Nah.
Sorry, I'm wiping you like a dirty ass.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so
my
off topic.
bestie is
But so, so there was in my head there was no need for any BFA or anything like that when I met Jeremy because the amount of cash he had versus what a house in Darra is worth was probably muchness.
Yeah.
But had I have had that house and I'd paid a considerable amount off and I'd built up a lot of equity and he was coming to the relationship with nothing, I probably would have thought. And I had experiences of a very close family member of mine had a secret family and came out, and then as a result, the one that was married to him, family member, trying to be delicate, kind of said to all of the young girls, always make sure you have a secret account, always make sure you put some. And
did you not ever see that in the bank?
No, I didn't want to live like that. I don't want to be married to someone where I never had one thought. Either. But then, like, if there's some writing or some red flags, maybe it wouldn't. I mean, I'm not doing anything, Jeremy. Don't worry. He doesn't listen anyway. But you know,
is that a red flag?
I don't.
No, I'm only kidding. That word.
No, it's a blessing. He doesn't listen.
Meh.
He'll just tell me that I should stop rambling and talking shit that no one wants to listen to. And I'll say 36 downloads, 36 people are digging what we're.
Exactly.
And take off Dad and Richard. That's 34.
And the one we listen to. I think 6 years ago, I'm going to say 6 years ago, if you had told me that those stories, like I didn't even flinch when you said that story, but I didn't actually, in my married world bubble with my kids, I was not aware of how much in terms of people treated other people in terms of affairs and, you know, secret families. And
do you know what I always thought? I always thought it was the men that were cheating on the women.
No.
Oh,
yeah. I agree because, the circles that I've heard since splitting are a lot of females as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Like
we're
not doing good, girls.
No. And I think, I don't know, not to blame men or women. I think it's just, I don't know what's going on. Like, just the generation is very different, isn't it? Like,
well, we've seen that with
social media has a lot to play. I think too, because
so.
you can. Yep. I think I read something, and I'm not great at, like, there's they call it micro cheating. You know, when you like people's posts and it's just that little discreet, subtle we've talked about this, like text messages from people that are not directly flirting, but they're, or DMing, and it's not like, oh, do you want to have, with me? It's just those little micro
just like filling you in on my day, and I'm like, I'm just not going to acknowledge that because it's weird, and you don't need to fill me in on your day.
Yeah, and I suppose if you're in a vulnerable spot where, and as couples, digressing, life gets busy, you do disconnect, and then if you got those little peoples going, oh, how are you? Like, that warm and fuzzy, because I think 50 years ago they didn't have that, right? Bob delivered the milk, and that was probably the interaction. It wasn't so much connection. And
it wasn't anyone in the world.
No.
Yeah, I agree.
So maybe that's what's changing in that way too.
Also, I think people, like I've seen in couples where they can grow together or very much grow apart.
Yeah.
So, there might be one partner who goes on a fitness journey and then goes really down a rabbit hole, and then the other one isn't. And that can really start to create and like everyone's allowed to grow, and if you're not growing with your partner, then that could be
a disconnect,
a red flag. Yeah.
And this is maybe my older person inside me saying, but I think generationally, 50 years ago, women probably weren't as much in the workforce. They were the homemaker. They were at home. And I don't think either way is right or wrong.
I remember my nan, she almost lived to look after my pop.
Mine too.
She put her high heels on before he walked in the door so that she would look lovely for I'm not doing that for Jeremy. No freaking way.
I just remember.
He can put high heels on for me.
Can you imagine?
That will not happen.
He would not know. My nan was the same. Like a hot meal was cooked every lunch.
Yep.
He had his own,
no, I don't know about lunch.
He had his own business tree lopping, but he would come home from jobs. Just like
that kind of warms my heart.
It does.
Imagine loving someone that much that you'd happily make them a warm lunch every day.
But generationally, I look back and I go, I don't think she was a happy woman. I don't like if I looked at it, she wasn't a happy woman. She didn't have her own license. Maybe she wanted to work, and in that way they couldn't. They were just pigeonholed to be the child bearer,
and then so back to like if you were to separate. If you weren't necessarily allowed to work,
though, right?
Which can sometimes be worse.
Yeah.
But let's say you're not allowed to have your license, you don't have a lot of freedom, and then all of a sudden that person says, I'm done, I'm out. You don't have a job and it's hard to get employment because you haven't been employed. You don't have a license. You don't have even access to cash. Like, that's scary.
So when you talk about the homeless in their 60s, like the women, that's probably why.
I can see why it happens.
Yeah, because we become, well, not so much anymore, but so dependent on one person.
Yeah.
For a range of things.
So what's the quick fix?
I don't think there's a quick fix. So I don't think, like having been through it, it certainly changes the way, it's not what you think is going to happen, but I think you can only be as prepared as you think. And that's not preparing for the worst thing to happen, because that's a horrible way to live.
Like I said, you don't want to live your life like that.
You do not want to live like
when
that.
He leaves me, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. I think just like in terms of finances, look at a BFA, even if it is your first, I say not that you get married multiple times and that's the way, but just explore options in terms of your own, you are still your own human, like I think if you go into a marriage, you are still you, and like, at 60 we are, I think sometimes, like I used to say, you got to want someone and not need them.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, I think if I look at it like if you're in my life, like say Rich, it's I want him in my life. It's not because I literally don't need him.
You could live life without him.
That sounds really bad. I don't need him.
No, I get what you're saying, but I don't think it sounds bad when you put it like that.
No. So I think financially too, if you just prepared yourself in that way, like if
I would add to that. I would add to that too, and I think this might be on what you were just about to say, so I apologise for cutting you off. Be in on all of the finance, and that's for male or female, doesn't matter.
Just be educated.
Yeah. So, you hear those stories of wives that just sign the documents that the husband puts in front of them or whatever. No. What is this? Let's read it. What decisions are we making? And what decision are we making next? And what's the plan? And what's the goal? And be in on all of that.
Yeah.
Even things as little as what what direct debits do we have coming out of our bank account on what days so that I can and I'm seeing at the moment a lot of clients, it's the female that does all the banking.
Yeah.
So from a male perspective, you need to know all that.
Rich was that, yeah. He didn't even do net banking. He just kind of like, obviously worked, and they both, whatever their story is, but he just didn't know anything about banking at all. Yeah, and even sometimes I'd ask him the question, he'd get embarrassed going, I actually don't know. Like, they don't know. He didn't know how much they paid for things.
So much comes to mind. First of all, he should never be embarrassed.
I was just actually, that was one of my points, that never to be embarrassed, because I think it's more common than people, because I know I went through that. I was really embarrassed to tell people, like, when separating, because it was almost my own failure. But I think if I had have been more,
it's not your failure.
Oh, in my head it was. Yeah, because I thought, that's
right.
so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. But I think being open to when stuff goes wrong, that's probably what we're here for too, and not being embarrassed. There is no judgment.
Yeah, I've had the odd phone call from clients who are, if we were to separate, what would that look like? How much could I buy them out? And that's completely confidential. Yep. Nothing of so I had a client call me with that question maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I've not heard a thing again since, and they still have their property and everything's ticking along.
Yeah.
So every part of me, the old romantic, is like, I hope we worked it out. I hope everything's good, and I hope we're together forever. But there's no harm in saying I haven't paid a bill. I don't know. So I know for me, when I met Jeremy, oh, poor Jeremy. Oh, let me tell you a funny story. I met this poor guy, and I was, why are you carrying cash? He used to take his entire wages out, put it in his wallet, and I loved it because he was like, dollar bills when we'd go for dinner, and he was very romantic like that.
Yeah.
He fooled me. Anyway, I convinced him to stop putting his cash in his wallet, stop using cash, use your key card. And I kind of converted him to a key card. Then when I started taking care of the income and everything, what I'd do is we'd both get paid. I'd put a little bit of money in his account, a little bit of money in my account for spending, and then the rest went, in all those accounts.
That's what we do.
Yeah. I forgot to put any money in his account. Then so he was a postie.
Did you forget?
Must have.
You've been bad. You're not getting any money.
And he called me from KFC and was like, I've just tried to buy myself some lunch, just a zinger burger, nothing fancy. And they've told me it's declined. I have no money in my account. And he was ropeable, and I was like, my bad. I'll put some money in your account now. But so I think we did that for a little while, and I went, okay, now you need to know. Now you need to do the banking.
Yeah.
Partly because I didn't have the time, and you could see I wasn't doing a great job at it, but also because he needs to know.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And so now he does all of our banking.
Yeah.
Except anything to do with the super fund. I take care of that because I think he thinks, I don't know.
I make a point, like, knowing that Rich didn't have much to do with finances in the past, like, and I think him separating as well, and then having that in the back of his head, like, even with buying this house, he's like, I trust you and you do this, but lots of things I'm like, no.
Yeah, let's do this together.
Yeah, and you need to tell me what you want from this, and this is like, because I'm not going to take over. Well, I think we're a team, and that's what we're going to.
That's what so often it's in the car, usually on a Sunday on the way to football, and Jeremy will go, okay, well, I put this money here and that money's there and this money's here and this is what I've done.
Yeah.
And I particularly like that for two reasons. Firstly, I'm across what's going on, so he's given me a rundown on where he's put all the money. I'm happy. But secondly, the kids are in the back seat, right?
Yeah.
And I think we've talked about this before. I was raised in a household where you don't talk about money.
Yes.
It's taboo.
Yeah.
The kids don't need to know how much money we do or don't have. It just was never spoken about.
Yeah.
And so I like doing the opposite with my kids because I want them to know that money's not scary. It's not this big elusive thing it's just money.
And they need to know about it though.
Yeah. And they need to know that mum and dad are budgeting, and it's just normal. It's healthy for a couple to be talking about money.
Yep.
I kind of want them to see all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Nearly said all that shit. But all that stuff. I think it's all important.
I think sometimes too, like I've always run by, like, people need to know the why as to why. I think if you Well, I don't know. I think a success coach once told me as a manager, like,
was that me?
I don't know. If you want people to listen, you've got to explain to them the why, because it makes them understand why you're asking them to do things. So
100%.
then sometimes I do think that with the kids, and I say to Rich, like, just explain why we can't buy that, you know? Not, you don't have to get in the nitty gritty, but we've just bought a house. The mortgage is, quite, we have to pay the bank,
Even if it,
just to say no, they'll go, oh, do you know?
Even if so the interest we pay is this much per month, but if we can make extra payments, we're only paying this much.
Yeah.
So by chipping away at it and not spending money on something that could be wasteful, we're actually putting more inheritance into your pocket, really.
But you also know too, like on the way to work, if you're talking to Chad about what you do for a job, I think that even opens up, I've had conversations with Jai about mortgages and, that sort of thing. It just opens up the conversation that's how they don't, when you think they're little brains as kids, they don't know what things are. We live in houses, but what happens there and what, we work to pay someone back. Like, that's not taboo. That's just explaining how life works.
Yeah.
Because they are going to be kids that turn into adults. I was saying this at the dinner table this week, like, you are all going to be kids that turn into adults, and you need the life skills, like to do certain things.
Yeah.
And money is one of those.
Money is a massive, because isn't it one of the major reasons that relationships break down?
Yeah.
In the first place?
Yeah.
So you can get that money thing. And I think I'm blessed with Jeremy because we are both, spenders and savers, but we will change. Yeah. So at the moment, Jeremy's going through a, buying lots of toys phase, and I'm like, oh, let's rein that in. Yeah. And then we'll swap where I'm like, stuff it, let's go overseas or something like that. And he's like, oh, let's rein that in. So we kind of complement each other to a degree. Yeah. But we're also very conscious of YOLO, right? So I still want to teach my kids that the only reason we go to work, I mean, don't get me wrong, love my clients, love what I do, love coming to work with you, love all that stuff. But the only reason I'm doing all of this is so that I can provide a lifestyle. And that's the only reason everyone's doing what they're doing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I want to be able to enjoy that lifestyle while I can with my kids and my family and my loved ones.
Yeah.
So I don't want to raise kids that are going to be squirreling away everything and not living their life. And I also don't want to be raising kids that are like, it doesn't matter. Money's just nothing.
Exactly right. It's a balance.
It is.
It is a balance.
And it's hard if you've got two extremes in a relationship to be able to meet in the middle without having judgment on the other one or, I nearly licked the microphone. Or creating fights or anything like that. It's just somehow going to be some open,
and I think it's one of
the.
I'm definitely not a relationships, but I think I was laughing before because I think before I got married, you'd hear where I think to get married in a church, you have to do some sort of, counselling, or they ask you, certain questions about finance, raising kids, blah, blah. Sometimes you do get married or you're in a relationship and how you thought the other person will be, the parenting is one of them. Finances are very different, like you said. I was very aware. I wasn't so much aware with my husband, but with Rich, I was very much pro separation. I was very aware how he's a spender, or if he's, how he worked money. But I think that's not bad to do, to understand your partner and how they.
Yeah, and I find it really fascinating to go one step further and go back into their upbringing, because their upbringing
that will tell you
why they
and
are.
I can exactly see why Rich
what they're worried about, what their fears are, and yourself as well,
or their value for money. Do you know, like whether they are just a spender.
Yeah,
maybe that's what.
Well, so I was raised on money doesn't grow on trees. So whenever I asked for something, it was, well, money doesn't just grow on trees.
Yeah.
So then I kind of grew up with this whole, I'm not worthy necessarily of having exorbitant amounts spent on me because it's a limited resource, and who do I think I am?
Yeah.
So trying to break that down.
It's a fine line.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is a fine line.
Yeah, because you don't want to spend all your money on silly things.
Yeah.
But then you are worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah. But too, I think spending money, don't they say like spending money and shopping, like particularly shopping is one of those psychological things?
It can be for.
It can be like
I see that in my daughter where she's like, I haven't found something to buy yet. And I'm like, Whoa. What?
I don't know, but yeah, Lexi's the same. Every time we go to every shop we go to, she'll ask for something. And I know that's probably kids in themselves, but it's like, yeah, you can see the excitement and you're like, it's not all coming down to
hit.
Yeah.
I've had a couple of times with Zoe where I've pulled her out before she's found something to buy.
Yeah.
And it's been irritable. She's been irritable for a considerable amount of time.
Yeah.
We've talked about this. That's uncomfortable as a parent to have your kid in a mood. It's easier just to go, just give in to what she wants. But part of me is like, oh, this is good because she needs to learn.
Well, I think I said to Rich the other day, my comment was uncomfortableness can create growth as well.
Yeah.
That's where you grow when you're uncomfortable. Otherwise, if you're always comfortable, like you're not learning as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I've got to get my kids making their own bed and doing some more around the house. Doing far too much.
Yeah, I get it.
So anyway, if we bring it back, key takeaway. So what's our key takeaway this week?
Separation happens. Yeah, separation happens. And I think you can only be prepared as you can be. But I don't think that's like living as if the bad's going to happen. But I think financially, if you are coming into a mortgage together with someone, whether you're married or not married, just be prepared.
As prepared as you can.
Yeah, be educated. Yeah. Know what you're getting into.
And then
have a say in your financial, agreement.
The finances.
Yeah, like where the money is going. Just be aware.
And if shit hits the fan, then just be open to a conversation with no judgment about what that might look like.
Because it's way more
forward.
common, I think, than people think. Yeah.
And that's a wrap.
That is a wrap.
Dollars on our mind. Ideas all the time. We might get distracted, but we're building wealth just fine. This is dollars and distractions if we went off track.